What is going on, Ramley? The Ram Squad show is back. I'm Gavin Carlson, and boy, oh boy, I can't wait to talk about that idiot, Jerry Jones.
And I'm Doug McKain. I can't wait to tell you why the Rams have the perfect schedule for a Super Bowl run.
Whose house? Rams house. It's the Ram Squad. Everything Los Angeles Rams every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Here comes the Rampede. The Ram Squad show starts now.
Whose house? Rams house. Whose squad? Mob Squad, baby. What's going on, Ramley? And welcome back to the latest edition of the Rams Squad show right here live on the Locked On Rams YouTube channel. It's almost here. Finally, week one. We're so close. Obviously, just counting down the days at this point. And as always, I'm Gavin Carlson, joined by the legend himself, D-Mac, Doug McKain. We're here to break down all things Rams ahead of the season opener, which again is just days away. Of course, we'll still have a show in the middle of the week leading up to the season opener, and then we will be live after that big time week one game against those Houston Texans. But before we get into this show where we have plenty to talk about, I got to intro the man. Like I said, it's D-Mac, Doug McKain, the legend. He's a Bruin like myself. We're hurting after what happened this weekend. But my man, Doug, how you doing today?
Doing good, man. I forget college football. I'm ready for some NFL football. UCLA season was over before the first quarter even ended. I mean, we could do a whole segment on fire Martin Jarman and Deshaun Foster, but let's talk about the more positive LA football situation. That's the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, exactly. It's like you come in all excited for one sport, it doesn't go well. Thank goodness that football technically has, two sports almost. So obviously the Rams, the news a lot better lately with them. There's been some up and down reports about Matthew Stafford, about the health of the offensive line, but feels like we're planning for this show, and it's like feel like things are kind of back to level. So we thought no better time to talk about a team that maybe isn't level, a couple teams that were greatly affected by one of the largest moves in NFL history, maybe, or certainly in recent years, and that being the Micah Parsons trade. Obviously, it affects the Cowboys. We don't think the Cowboys are going to be that great this year, but it really affects the team that went out and got him in the Green Bay Packers. So Doug and I are going to talk a little bit about how this affects the Rams, right? We know the Rams certainly view themselves as a contender in the NFC. I do. Doug does. The Packers are certainly in the mix, and with this acquisition, do they leapfrog the Rams? What's the pecking order of the NFC? And then we're going to get into our game-by-game predictions for the season for the Rams to see where they will finish in this thing. So I'll ask you, D-Mac, first and foremost, where were you? It's always kind of fun. Like, where were you when the Micah Parsons news dropped? What was your first reaction when you see Adam Schefter or whoever else tweet that and break the news?
Man, I was at Mookie Betts' pickleball tournament at a country club near Santa Monica. That's where I was. And I was actually talking to Marcellus Wiley. First of all, Marcellus Wallace is from Pulp Fiction, by the way. It's you lost your LA privileges, of course. But no, I was talking to Marcellus Wiley, and I actually broke the news to him. I was like, dude, did you see that Micah Parsons was traded to the Green Bay Packers? And he was just in complete disbelief because, like everyone else, he thought that, okay, Jerry Jones is just playing games. Jerry Jones wants the attention. Jerry Jones wants the Cowboys to be the topic of conversation. And it turns out that, no, things were serious, that he was actually going to get traded, and he did get traded. And, yeah, I was pretty shocked. I mean, at that point, I'd already pretty much accepted that the Rams weren't going to be serious players for him, and I kind of any thought of him being a Ram had already kind of left my brain at that point. But I definitely didn't think that he would end up on another team, and a team that could contend in the same conference as the Rams. I mean, I wasn't worried about the Cowboys, but the Packers are certainly a team that has a well-rounded roster with an emerging quarterback in Jordan Love. They kind of lack some of that top-end superstar like talent. And now with Micah Parsons, they have one of those guys where you could say, wow, I mean, this is a real needle mover, and you put him on a good roster. He makes a good roster, a great roster, and a great roster, an elite roster. So yeah, I think they still need to prove that Jordan Love is a quarterback that can win you a Super Bowl and kind of limit mistakes. The talent's always been there. It's just a matter of realizing it. So I don't know if you saw this, Gavin, but there was a moment on Micah Parsons' podcast where Micah Parsons was asking Jordan Love, like, is there one guy out there that you want to see added to the Packers that can help your team and this and that? And Micah Parsons wasn't expecting this, but Jordan Love was like, yeah, the guy's sitting right next to me. And Micah Parsons was like, nah, man, I'm loyal. I'm a lifer. I talked to my dog, Jerry Jones, and we're going to work something out. And then now they're on the same team. So like I always say, the star on the Cowboys helmet isn't a logo, it's a rating. And we know that why that is. That's because the Cowboys are by far the worst run marquee franchise in any professional sport right now. I mean, the Lakers, the Yankees, I mean, even though they're not winning championships at the moment, they have won a lot more recently than when the Cowboys did, when Friends and ER and VHS tapes was the number one thing in the entertainment world. So, yeah, I mean, but where were you when you heard the Micah Parsons news, and what was your general reaction?
Yeah, well, first off, I've never heard it's not a it's not a logo, it's a rating. So that's I'm still dying on that. That's great. But yeah, no, I was at work, recently started a new job and sitting in an office for an NBA team and a bunch of sports fans in there, and suddenly you start yelling and you hear yelling and screaming, and you're like, what's going on? Like, and yeah, I mean, I was pretty stunned. I know people were nowadays it's like everyone's like, is it true? Is it real? Was it a fake account? Because now Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, has all the fake accounts, all the NBA Centals, right? And so it felt like the Luka trade. And I feel bad for people in Dallas, man. Like, I remember when the Luka trade happened and everyone's like, this isn't real, no chance. Shams has to post again saying it is real. Like, that's how this felt. And then when you see the trade as well, I was a little surprised. Obviously Kenny Clark is great. He's a Bruin, so I love him. He's a great player, but the same way Khalil Mack had 3 firsts and some other stuff as well, I thought it would have been 3, just because of how young he is. Obviously, you have to give him the money, but there's no doubt that I think it really feels like every team in the NFL other than the Dallas Cowboys was willing to give Micah Parsons a max contract. It's just one of those things where it's a no-brainer, right? So pretty stunning, I'll be honest, but certainly it does affect, like you're saying, the Rams, because the Packers, like you said, I think you said it perfectly. They lack some of the top end talent, right? Jordan Love is, he's not the 20th best quarterback in the NFL, but he's not a top 8 quarterback either, right? Like, the receiving core is pretty deep, but there isn't a stud on that. They're hoping that a first round rookie will be their number one, their alpha wide receiver, right? So certainly they needed a guy like that. I still think they need someone like that offensively, in my opinion, but they're right there now. If you look at all the Vegas betting markets, if you look at all the power rankings and everything, the Packers are right there with the Lions, with the Eagles, with the Rams in terms of being the cream of the crop in the NFC. What's your opinion now with that acquisition for the Packers? I mean, you came here on the intro saying you got the Rams winning a whole lot of games. You think they still win more than the Packers? Or give me your between those 4 I said, and tell me if you think I'm missing one too. The Vikings, the Bears, if you want to be crazy like that, or the Niners. Not want to talk about those people, but give me your maybe top 5 in the NFC after the Micah news and where the Rams slot in.
Yeah, I mean, first, I think that's it must have been pretty interesting in an NBA world to hear the kind of Luka comps, right? I mean, I'm sure that happened pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And obviously we know these two guys, their careers were better and are probably for sure going to be better than the guys that were traded, but that would be almost equivalent to the Lakers trading Kobe Bryant and Aaron Donald in the span of 7 months. And of course, Donald, AD, and Kobe are better than Micah Parsons and Luka Doncic, but as far as like that star for that franchise in that sport being moved at those ages, right, in their absolute primes, I just can't. I can't imagine. I mean, if you have a Dallas sports fan, give him a hug today.
Yeah.
If Dallas sports fan, tell them that everything's going to be okay, because it's probably not. But as far as the Packers hype, so yeah, as you mentioned, if you look at the power rankings, look at the Vegas odds, really, they have gone way up there. I still have them behind the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, you want to be the champs, you have to beat the champs. So we know that this Eagles roster is a roster that's built to contend for multiple years. Their window is certainly open, and we're going to see that team in the first 3 weeks of the season in their house. But I think the Eagles are a team that they benefit more than anyone too, because not only do they have the Cowboys in the division, they don't have to worry about that, right? And we know the Cowboys, I mean, they weren't going to contend anyway, but still it's kind of one less meaningful game, I think, for them, because I don't think they're going to be a good football team. But I still have the Eagles as number one. I think the number 2 team is kind of debatable, and it really is a crapshoot really early on this season. It's going to depend on how those guys look coming out of the gates, but I got the Eagles in their own tier. They're in their own tier, but that next tier, I think, is a bucket of teams that includes the Green Bay Packers, the Los Angeles Rams. I think you could include the Detroit Lions kind of in that mix. And then the next tier, I've got the Commanders, the 49ers. There's a lot of hype around the Arizona Cardinals and a little bit about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But those are the teams I have kind of at the top of the NFC. I think teams like the Seahawks and the Vikings I've seen rated way too high. I'm having trouble buying into the Arizona Cardinals hype.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are having them in the top 5 of the NFC and things like that. To me, it's almost like that meme. You ever seen that meme, Gavin, where it's the soldiers,
Yeah,
and
and
they're
the
all
clown.
like the thing,
Yeah.
and then they're the clown soldier.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where the Cardinals are in
Yeah.
all of this. But to answer your question, I definitely think it's neck and neck after the Eagles with the Rams and the Green Bay Packers. And we saw the Packers coming to SoFi last year, and they had their way with this Rams team. And that's why this Rams team is tough to figure out early in seasons, because there's times when they look like they're not going to even contend for the division. And then when they get things right, not only do they contend for the division, they win the division and win a playoff game, right? So I think a lot of it has to do with, I mean, we're not going to beat it to a dead horse, but the health of Matthew Stafford's back. But I think, too, the other big question that the Rams have is how big of a step forward, how big of a leap will their young defensive stars make? Because if Jared Verse makes a big leap, it's almost going to feel like a little quasi. I mean, do they trade for Micah Parsons, right? I mean, if he becomes the player that people think legitimately not only can be a Pro Bowler, an All-Pro, but a contender to win not just the rookie defensive player of the year, but the defensive player of the year. If he can take some type of leap like that, they're going to be good. They're a little thin at the edge spot after Jared Verse and Byron Young, and you're going to need to have the cornerbacks prove that they can step up and be competent. But I still think that the addition of Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, I think, falling into his prime, Kyron Williams being back. I think this is a very deep running backs room that has 3 guys that could start for teams. I think Blake Corum could start for a team. I think Jarquez Hunter is going to bring a different edge that he can be a hammer, but also can stretch and have some explosive plays. And if Alec Jackson's healthy, which clearly all indications are that things are positive from that standpoint, this Rams roster, you could put him against that Packers roster for sure if Matthew Stafford still has it. I still think he does.
Yeah, I mean, I think the staff, and I know, like you're saying, it feels like you're beating a dead horse, or you know, when you say, but you have to, right? You have to. You simply have to. I think when it comes to the Packers and this Micah trade, they and our Rams are kind of neck and neck, and it really just comes down to the Stafford health, right? I have it. Eagles, you're totally right. Not only are they the champs, and they're the champs until you beat them, but I still think they're the most talented roster. They lost some guys, right? You always do. You could lose guys like Mekhi Becton and stuff like that. We'll see how dominant the offensive line still is, but that roster is still ridiculously stacked. They do have to replace Kellen Moore, but it's still the Eagles, right? I've still got the Lions too. And the reason I still have the Lions too is, yes, you lose Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, and there's a lot of questions there. But Aiden Hutchinson back and healthy now. A lot of the depth is still there. Jared Goff, there's questions about if he can get it done in big games, right? But we're talking about power rankings. We're talking about regular season records and whatnot. And I still think the regular season Detroit Lions are as good as any team in the NFL. So I've still got the Lions too. I don't know if Jared Goff is good enough to actually get them over the hump and get the Lions that trophy they want so bad, but I've still got them too. And then I still have the Rams 3 as long as Matthew Stafford is healthy, right? There's a question on if it's 3 games that he misses for Jimmy G, do the Packers leapfrog him? I think maybe after this trade, yes. But if you can tell me Matthew Stafford's going to play every game, you still got to give me the Rams because I think they have, like you said, more top-end talent. Sure, Jordan Love is great. He's not as good as Matthew Stafford. Sure, that wide receiver core is exciting, but come on, let's not even have a debate there. Kyron's in the same tier as Josh Jacobs. The offensive lines are the same. The defensive talent's the same. So give me the Rams 3, Packers 4, and then I will go Commanders 5. There's a little bit of fear that Jaden Daniels might have a sophomore slump like CJ Stroud did, but I don't think so. They added Debo. I know he's chubby, but he's still another weapon as well. So that's my top 5. Give me Eagles, Lions, Rams, Packers, Commanders. And of course, there'll be injuries, there'll be trades, there'll be stuff that changes it. But for now, that's what I'm going with. When we come back from our break, we're going to tell you why we have the Rams at 3 or 4 in the NFC, because we're going to go game by game, looking at the schedule, giving you a little bit of a mini breakdown on every game. Of course, we're going to have a huge preview of the Texans game in the midweek, but we're looking forward to going game by game for the Rams schedule when we come back on this week away edition of the Ram Squad Show. We'll be right back. Now, today's show is brought to you, and I'm excited. I really am excited because the season is so close, and you can just taste it, the excitement, and it all starts with all these sponsors that are going to be giving you opportunities to get in on the action, whether it's getting tickets or betting on the game, all that stuff, and that's where we start today's show with Gametime. The NFL season is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout. It's frustrating, but that's why I use Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered every time, on time, at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. And today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. Yes, the NFL season is almost here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. FanDuel, we can't use it in California, but whenever I'm traveling in a state where you can, it's the best. The app is efficient. The live bet interface is wonderful. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Back here on the Rams Squad Show, we just told you why Jerry Jones is an idiot, why the Green Bay Packers got a lot better, and where they rank in the NFC with our Los Angeles Rams. But D-Mac, it's time to go game by game. And I know you did it with Brock a little bit on the last show. Of course, I did not mention we are without the third member of the Mob Squad today in Brock. And it's kind of funny, Doug. We're kind of like teasing the fans a little bit. They'll get one show with the three of us, then one show with me and you, then one show with him and you, right? It's all leading up, just like this preseason is, where you get maybe not, I mean, the Rams, you don't get any starters in the preseason, but maybe you see one backup or two backups, and you start getting excited a little bit. Eventually, when it's time for the games, the whole Mob Squad will be in here with the fans. But I know you did a little bit. You went game by game with him, talked about some of the predictions. I want to go game by game, starting at week 1, go to week 2, tell me who's going to win, tell me why, and see what record the Rams have at the end of our predictions. So, D-Mac, you said in the intro, you got them winning, what, 12 games, 13 games? Surely you have the Rams winning week 1 then against the Houston Texans, or am I wrong? Tell me what you're thinking there.
Yeah, I think Houston at home, week 1, you get Matthew Stafford in that one. You get Alec Jackson in that one. That you've got a clean bill of health as a team. And this is a Rams team that's had some tough road games to start seasons in recent years. I mean, going to Detroit, Sunday Night Football, games like that. This is not that massive game, but it's still a Houston team that comes in. CJ Stroud looking to have a bounce back year. You've got a Texans team that's hungry. But this is a great opportunity for the Rams to get off to a good start and start 1-0 And I think that's the big thing for this Rams team this year is putting money in the bank early so you don't have to dig yourself out of a hole later. And I think that starts in week 1. I think the fact that the Rams have 5 standalone games tells you that the league thinks the Rams are going to have a big year. And I certainly have the Rams winning week 1 against Houston. How about you, Gavin, though?
Yes, sir. Same. And I think you're right. It's kind of a nice situation. You know that the Rams can't be more healthy than they are going to be in week 1. And you have, I'd say, one of your better opponents in the early slate of the schedule, right? Obviously, you still have much bigger games when you play the Niners twice, when you play the Eagles, when you play the Ravens. You know, it's not an easy schedule at all. But the Texans are kind of that team that if they came up in the middle of the season and the Rams were a little banged up, that's a team where you look at them on the schedule and say you're supposed to win that game if you're an elite team in the NFC like we are. But then maybe you get caught up and you don't win that game because you're missing 1 or 2 guys, or because maybe you have to play the Niners the week before or something like that. But you don't, right? You'll be as healthy as you can be. You'll be as focused as you can be. And what could have been maybe a trap game should be a game where, like you're saying, with people watching, the Rams handle business. Then we go to week 2. And this is what I love about this part of the schedule, because you have the Eagles and the Niners and the Ravens in your first 6 games, but at least for a couple of them, you get kind of a lead-in game, if that makes sense, right? You go to Tennessee, a lot of excitement with Cam Ward, but that's certainly a game that I have the Rams winning. You go to 2-0, and then obviously the big one comes the week after with the Eagles, but I'm sure you have the Rams winning this week 2 game in Tennessee, and maybe, like you're saying, whether it's Stafford or Alec Jackson or anything else, maybe you get a nice lead. Maybe you get to, take your foot off the gas a little bit at the end of the 4th quarter, and then certainly prepare for the Eagles. What about you? I'm sure you got the same thing there.
Yeah, I think it's a game that on paper, it's one of the Rams should win by double digits, but it's also early in the season. Cam Ward has really impressed me. I mean, what does he say? He only talks to his dog and his parents, right? He shows up to the facility at like 3:00 in the morning. I mean, his work ethic is off the charts, but
Yeah.
this is not a Titans roster that's built to beat a Rams team at home. And the Rams, if they go in there and they play to their B level, I think should win this game. And it is early in the season's weird though. You know what I mean? Like week 1 lies, week 2 lies. I mean, the Titans could win that game and win 3 other games for the rest of the season, right? Just I still like to me it's like a 28 to like 17 score ideally. I still have the Rams winning that one because yeah, they need to take care of business, but yeah, it's a road game. It's early. You're kind of come off a home win. It's a little, to me, it feels a little bit like a trap game for the Rams, just because it's a week before the Eagles game,
Right.
and I think you're just going to have to be on high alert. I mean, that's the game where I'm looking. Okay, will they try to start the run game? I mean, you look at a Jared Verse. Hopefully, he gets after Cam Ward. I mean, what they were looking for Jared Verse is look, he led the team in pressures, had 4.5 sacks, and you don't use sacks as the main barometer to assess a defensive player, but it'd be nice to see a 2-3 sack game for Jared Verse, where he's almost already halfway to his sack total from the 2024 season. So I'm looking for a big game from Verse and a big win for the Rams over the Titans in week 2.
Yes, sir. Would love it. Sure, certainly expect it. And like you said, it'll be fun watching Cam Ward earlier in the season. But again, you get him at a right time where, as much as you and I certainly agree with what you said. He's going to be great, right? But typically the rookie QBs aren't great by week 2, right? Maybe it's week 7, week 8, week 12. And luckily you get him early before he's getting used to the NFL. Hopefully it's an easy win. Then, of course, a lot of people clicking on this video or clicking on this podcast, they want to hear what we're going to say about week 3 on September 21st. Rams in Philly against the reigning Super Bowl champs. You know what happened the last time the Rams were in Philly. And so this is a game that the Rams have circled on their schedule. The fans do. The Eagles probably do as well, because they want to silence anybody who thinks things are going to go differently. And let's go to you first, D-Mac. Rams in Philly. We both say they're 2-0 coming in this game. What happens? Do they get over the hump against Saquon, Jalen Hurts, and the defending champs?
This is going to be a tough game. Of course, this is the one that you got to circle on the calendar just because it's a rematch of that 28-22 loss in Philly with all the snow, and it was so close that, yeah, it really brings you nightmares knowing that the Rams would have hosted the Commanders at SoFi with a chance to get back to another Super Bowl. But I like the fact that this game is early enough to where the weather isn't going to have a big impact, right? It's not like you're playing Philly in that snow. I think that you look at that Philly team and it makes you wonder, what are they going to do about the workload for Saquon Barkley? This is a guy that had an NFL high 345 carries last season, had 500 touches. That early in the season, are they still going to be riding him very high?
Right.
And if they are, maybe you get kind of the explosive version of a Saquon Barkley. And then I'm kind of looking at a guy like Poona Ford in that one, because I think that he's one of the most non-discussed impact additions for any team in the offseason, because that was an area where you saw not only Saquon Barkley, but Jalen Hurts breaking off big runs that affected that game. And Poona Ford, he hopefully changes that. I mean, the Rams allowed 4.6 yards per carry last year. It was 26th in the NFL. They allowed 195 rush yards per game. So the number one thing I'm looking for in that game, win or lose, is how have the Rams improved in their ability to stop the run and stop explosive. So will they win that game? I almost feel like a complete homer to say they will. So I'm not going to go full homer on this one. My heart says the Rams win. My head says that the Eagles get that win at home. Still a team that top to bottom, front to back, their roster is really, really good. And I think that'd be the first Rams loss of the year.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm still taking the Eagles in this one, and it hurts to say, it really does. I always like saying, what is the argument for the other scenario where the Rams win the game? Well, I'd say one argument is the Eagles' schedule, because the week before they're in Kansas City, right? And so the grand opening of the NFL season on Thursday night against Dallas, well, maybe it means a little less with Micah gone. I still think the Cowboys are going to be a respectable team, but certainly the Eagles probably winning that game at home against the Cowboys. But then they go to Kansas City, and one of two things is going to happen. Either the Eagles are going to lose that game in Kansas City, they're going to be pissed off, and they're probably going to take it to the Rams, or they're going to maybe win that game in Kansas City, be on this high, and maybe the Rams can sneak in, right? I'm not someone, and it's funny I say that, I'm not typically not someone who likes to do the whole, teams have effort and they try more, it means more type of thing. I'm typically one who says, no, it's just who's the better team, who executes more. But when you're the defending champs, I feel like it's a little bit different, because there's always these kind of ebbs and flows when you're the defending champs, when you're playing against, it's a Super Bowl rematch too against Kansas City, with the another rematch coming in after that when the Rams come to town. So I do think that kind of momentum and focus factor means a little bit more. But, right, I feel like that's the only reason. You tell me that if the Rams win this game, sure, there's other reasons, right? Maybe Devontae Adams is just that much better than, Cooper Kupp was last year or something. But that would be the argument, in my opinion.
That's why it's so fun to do this. I mean, Gavin, to me, this is something similar to, I don't know about you, but like every March when I fill out my NCAA tournament bracket, I like want to hang that thing up in the Louvre, because I think this is the perfect bracket. I love this upset pick. I love this win here. Oh my gosh, my Final Four is going to be intact. And then like 2 games in, just everything that you thought was going to happen didn't, right? And then you're like, oh my goodness, like what's going on? The same thing applies here, right? The NFL, one thing I know every single year, there's teams that are better than they're supposed to be, and then there's teams that are worse than they're supposed to be. Just look at the Rams coming off that Super Bowl 56 win from 2021 to 2022. And you went out there and it felt like you had a pretty good chance to defend your title. And then that season was terrible. And you mentioned, though, the Chiefs game. And it's an interesting way to go into that, because you're at Kansas City. This could be the Rams game could be there's a chance to get right. Or it's, oh my goodness, we played this epic game against the Chiefs, and the Rams have an opportunity there because of it, right? But let's be honest, the Super Bowl hangover is real. Like the Super Bowl hangover is real. Like in the last 15 years, only one team has made it back to the Super Bowl. 4 didn't even make the playoffs the following year, and 5 didn't make it past the divisional round. So if the Eagles fall off for any reason, it wouldn't be a shocker based on what we've seen for a decade and a half of teams coming off Super Bowl wins. A thing I'm looking at too early on for the Eagles is the fact that they ran the ball more than any team last year, right? That was their bread and butter. Now they know it's about, okay, we paid Saquon, so we're going to preserve Saquon a little more to try to make sure that we get value out of the duration of that contract. And then the big one too, Kellen Moore's gone, right? Kellen Moore, their coordinator's gone, And you have Kevin Patullo. He's their fourth different offensive coordinator in the last 4 years. And
Right.
they're expecting to throw the ball more.
Mm.
And if they're expecting to throw the ball more, this could be a good opportunity for the Rams to catch the Eagles at the right time. I think you want to catch the Eagles earlier for several different reasons, as you mentioned. Like I said, you're not playing in the elements. New offensive coordinator, Super Bowl hangover, coming off a Chiefs game, as you pointed out, Gavin. So, I mean, kind of the more I talk myself into this, right, the more I kind of want to go back and switch my pick and say the Rams are going 3-0 just to save myself from anyone saying that I'm just completely Rams biased. I'm going to kind of to pick this one, but deep in my heart of hearts, I do think that this is a good opportunity for the Rams secondary to go up against Jalen Hurts and try to kind of get past the narrative that that's going to be a weakness for the Rams, their cornerback play. So there are some things that you can look at in this one that they make you feel better about the Rams' chances.
Yeah, I agree. We're about to take a break. I'll give you one last shot, Doug. You gonna switch your pick? You're gonna go to 3-0 for the Rams?
Like I said, like I pride myself, like when you see these sports podcasts for their teams, you know what I mean? Like, and I got a hat on for the team. You know what I'm saying? I got a green screen where I'm at SoFi Stadium at 9:35 in the morning. Like I always say this on the Locked On Rams show is we're like the 100 emoji. You know what I'm saying? We're the keep it 100. We're the keep it a buck Rams podcast, right? So the last thing I want is, like last night for our UCLA Bruins, it's the hope that gets you every time, right? It's the hope that gets you every time.
Yeah.
And the good thing is the Rams have actually a really decent shot to go up and take one in Philly. But I think for now, I'll just give the Eagles, the defending champions, the edge in that one. But I still think it's a game, too, that you can use as a good barometer where even if you do lose, you want to see why and how you did go toe-to-toe with that team early on. Because last year when the Rams played the Eagles in SoFi Stadium, they were completely overmatched by that offensive line. And then they turned things around in the playoffs. So we'll see if it's a better showing from them then. I'm hoping to see that.
Absolutely. I agree. So we've got it both now. We're simpatico. 2-1 for both of us now going into week 4. We'll get into that week 4 matchup and the rest of the Rams schedule after our break here on the Rams Squad Show. Now, today's Squad Show is also brought to you by Yahoo Fantasy. The NFL season, it's right around the corner, and you can feel the buzz. Fantasy football season is here. Everyone's researching, drafting, and building their championship squads. If you haven't joined a league yet, now's the time, and it's all happening on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, I'm playing fantasy football on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran creating your millionth league. Yahoo Fantasy is loaded with fun ways to compete and brand new features that make the game even better. With season kickoff on September 4th, now is the time to start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football, which offers so many fun ways to compete. Try the brand new Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine League mode, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated weekly until one team is left standing. Want to play instantly with friends? Try the new Draft with Friends mode. Prefer the classics? Get your crew together and go head-to-head in a private league. No crew? No problem. Join a public league, the easiest way to play. The NFL season kicks off on September 4th, so don't wait. Start your league now. Draft now at yahoofantasy.com/lockedonnfl. That's yahoofantasy.com/lockedonnfl. Back here on the Ram Squad Show, a part of the Locked On Rams on the Locked On Podcast Network. This is the Keep It 100 Locked On Rams channel, and we're doing that right now. We are going through the Rams schedule game by game and giving you our predictions ahead of the season opener exactly a week from today. I cannot believe we are exactly a week from today. I've got a fantasy draft in a couple hours, so I'm trying to lock in for that. I've got 2 fantasy drafts on Tuesday. I don't want to think about college football anymore already, and I'm certainly awaiting Sunday against the Texans.
You're going to be happy about this, Gavin. You know what I took for my Mr. Irrelevant in my last fantasy draft?
Oh, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Not even on a team right now, but I took DTR. I took Dorian Thomas-Robinson, my last pick. I think that kind of messed up my grade that they give you when they email you. That means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But I had the 11th pick. I got Neighbors at 11, and I got I'm on Ross St. Brown. Fight on. Sorry, that seems blasphemous for Bruin to say. That's blasphemous. But what do you think about that? Getting Neighbors at 11 and I'm on Ross St. Brown at 14, and then I got Kyler Murray as my quarterback. I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel good about my squad.
There you go. Hey, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like we're saying with the March Madness, with any, it's like fantasy is the greatest example of that, where you're like, I'm loving things. I'm envisioning it. They've all got the buys at different times, so I'm gonna fill this guy in on the bye week, and then you get to week 3 and the roster looks like everything's falling apart, right? So if you like it, it's almost like fantasy. It's so stressful. It takes your mental so much. Like if you like your team, that's all you can ask for after the draft, so you can have some confidence and breathe going into week 1 before things inevitably blow up. Now, things kind of inevitably blew up for the Rams when the season started last year, a horrible start, but we don't have that this year. We have the Rams at 2-1 going into week 4, and I think the Rams get right back to their winning ways at home against the Indianapolis Colts. Daniel Jones, the starter. I mean, do we need to say anything else? Give me the Rams in this one to move to 3-1.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. That's a game that good teams, great teams, they take care of business against bad teams. Daniel Jones, Danny Pennies. I mean, this is a guy that this is a Colts organization that you really, really should dominate. And I think too, I'm hoping for, like, let's say the Rams, they lose to the Eagles, but it came down to the fourth quarter, and there's just kind of like a bitterness to the way they lost. Like, this is your classic, okay, this is going to be an angry win against a Colts team. I'm looking for a BTA, a belt to what, right? Kind of what Utah gave the Bruins last night, right?
Yep. I had a Utah
Sorry,
friend.
I just keep seeing the UCLA helmet in the back, and like it's triggering me. Okay, so but yeah, I'm totally with you. Like, if this is the Rams team we think they are, then this is a game that you easily are able to get. And last year, I mean, even when they went on a run, it was like there wasn't these big, like, comfortable wins and these big explosive wins. I'm hoping that Devontae Adams changes that. That's the one guy I'm looking at that can change we squeaked by. It was kind of a gritty win. It was a bend but don't break style of defense. You won like 23-19 and you field goals, this, that. Like, I'm looking for some impressive wins early. I'm looking for some comfortable wins early. And as good as Puka was, he was injured early on last season, got injured in the Lions opener. He stays healthy with Devontae Adams. I think that's kind of be one of the themes I'm looking for early on. One of the early takeaways, hey, this is a team that's not only winning games, but against Tennessee, against the Colts, against even maybe possibly even the Texans. This is a team that I think should be winning games impressively early on, and the Colts should be the best example of that.
Yeah, I agree. With the lack of big play ability last year, and relying on these long methodical drives, it really limited your ability to explode, right? And win games by 14, win games by 21, because every drive was 11 plays, Kyron for 6, Kyron for 4, Stafford to Puka for 11, right? When you have maybe a Devontae for 13 and then a Puka for 22 on the same drive, you can score in 3 minutes. You can score 14 points in a quarter. You can thump the Colts, and that's what I'm hoping and expecting them to do. If there is a scenario,
Gavin, did you see this? Did you see that the Colts, they have this pretzel that looks like their logo?
That's how we're hoping they look, right?
It's an L, right?
Yes, of course it's an L. That's how we're hoping they look in week 4, because that was, they did not execute that well at all. It was hilarious. But I mean, I think if I always like to, again, like, have a scenario where why maybe the thing you expect doesn't happen. If there's a situation where the Rams get run all over by Saquon and the Eagles, and you go, ooh, maybe the addition, like you were saying, the run defense still isn't good, then maybe the only scenario is the Colts do the same. And it's a Jonathan Taylor, who's kind of a very Walmart, diet discount Saquon Barkley. Maybe they do the same thing, but I think that's very unlikely. Now, one of the other big games that's circled on the schedule, of course, twice a year, is those darn 49ers. And so we get our first matchup with them on Thursday night at SoFi. October football against the Niners at SoFi. Where do you go? I want to hear you say this one first, because I've got my opinions on the Rams, who are 3-1 at this point, facing the Niners. What do you got?
I think this game is one of those games where it's more important than it's just the San Francisco 49ers, right? It's not a matter of life and death. It's more important than that, right? It's the San Francisco 49ers, a team that has really had its way with you with Kyle Shanahan going up against you. But I think a lot of that has to do with, has Christian McCaffrey regained his form? I mean, has the former offensive player of the year looked like the guy that the 49ers hoped it would be when they traded for him. They gave up a lot to go get him because, I mean, Achilles tendonitis, what he was dealing with, does that get back to 100%? I mean, how does that impact his career for the rest of the way? I mean, you look at Robert Saleh being back as a defensive coordinator for the 49ers. Do they get back to that group that they looked like years ago? But, I mean, you got Nick Bosa, you got Fred Warner. But, I mean, I'm just curious to look at, I mean, what does that offensive look like? I mean, Deebo Samuel's gone. You got Brandon Ayuk, who, I mean, what does that even kind of look like?
Ugh.
Even though, I mean, he's come back from the ACL, MCL, and I mean, I don't know. Brock Purdy. I still think that the 49ers window is shut. I really do. I mean, when they went 6-11 last year, I don't think this is a good team. I don't think that this is a team that is designed to have long-term success based on the fact that, yeah, I mean, you had opportunities and you didn't take advantage of those. And I think the Rams are continuing to prove to themselves and the rest of the league that this division is back to being their division. Because, I mean, yes, the 49ers have been consistently Super Bowl contenders, but they skipped the part where the Rams were able to win a Super Bowl, right? So until they do that, this is the Rams division for the foreseeable future based on how they operate on their roster. So I think that this is a major statement game for the Rams. And I really, really do. The last thing you want to do early on the season is give the 49ers hope that they can win this division. And I think that that's why Thursday Night Football, Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, the rest of this group, to quote the great Aaron Donald, I hate the 49ers, right? And, you know, it's always interesting. You get a lot of Dodgers fans that are 49ers fans and Lakers fans. It's got to be kind of hilarious. So, like, when you hear and look, support your team, right? I'm not criticizing you. I'm not like a sports team gatekeeper, right? I mean, my granddad love the 49ers, lived in the Bay Area. I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you, like, I didn't go to a training camp and see Jerry Rice as a kid and was like, oh, like, crap, that's awesome. But, I mean, what do those emotions feel like when you hear Randy Newman's I Love LA? Like, I mean, that's got to be kind of weird because you heard I Love LA when Freddie Freeman hit the walk-off grand slam to beat the Yankees. And then you heard I Love LA by Ray Newman when the Rams beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship game, and it was Bang Bang Escalator Gang. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Like you're a hot take guy, bro. Like for me, I respect it because that's your team. But is there something weird about the Dodger Niner fan? I mean, in your opinion?
Yeah, I totally agree. It doesn't make sense. It like because of the regional, like it's not a rivalry just because of a division. It's a California where you live rivalry. Like, and it's ironic me saying that, I'll be honest, because I'm sitting here in the Bay Area right now and I hate the Niners and I'm here and I love the Rams, right? So it's like, well, Gavin, aren't you the flip side of that, right? Maybe there's going to be some people calling me a hypocrite, but it's just that, like, that, I don't want to say stereotype, but when you say, oh, this guy's a Niner and a Dodger fan, you know what's happening. It's escalator gang. It's a lot of words being said. It's throwing beers at people at the stadium, right? Like, you kind of just know. It's kind of like when someone says they're a Cowboys fan and they're probably like an SC fan for some reason, or a Bama fan or something like that, right? I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble with my thoughts on those people because those are probably my least favorite people on planet Earth.
Trust me, I met the stadium when I was up in San Francisco, covering the game at Oracle. I had a fan come up to me that wearing a full Giants gear, you know, black and orange, and all that stuff. It was like D-Mac. I'm like, oh, great. This is gonna be a freaking like Giants fan who's hating on the Dodgers show and all this stuff. He goes, no, I'm a Rams fan. I love Locked On Rams. I'm like, and I jokingly said to him, I jokingly said this to him. I was like, dude, you're a total freak. Like, you're a Giants Rams fan who is also a Warriors fan, which was kind of hilarious to me. But like I said, like, do you, man? Like, everyone has their reasons for liking teams. Yeah. I mean, if that's your, like, you know what the thing, Gavin, like when you watch your team, like, I mean, like, we watch UCLA football, but it's like, because it's like we're like married to this thing because we went to school there, right? But it's like when you watch your team, it's like you don't really choose to like feel good or bad based on what's happening. It's like a natural, like organic thing. Exactly. Like when things happen bad for them, you're like, oh, I feel crappy. When things good happen, we're like, yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah, it'd be tough to like shift that, but it definitely is a unique look. I would love for like the Rams should have a day. Like they should have a day where like it's like a 49ers, it's like a big public thing for like, all right, 49ers fans, today's your day you can convert to being a Rams fan and have like a form. Like we get it. There was no NFL football in LA for 20 years, and we understand why you became a 49ers fan, but now you can join the bandwagon. Now you can join
Judgment
the
free,
team,
right?
right?
It's a judgment free zone. No, it'll
Yeah.
be removed from the recollection that you were ever a Niners fan if on this day you transfer. I love it. I love it. I think that's a great idea. And are you sure that when you went to that game, that guy wearing the Giants jersey wasn't me? It might have been me saying, "Hey, I like the Rams, even though I'm from the Bay Area." You're like, wait a second, is
So,
this
so
Gavin?
you're I thought you're Angels guy.
Well, no, I'm Angels, but I'm also Giants. That's like a one where I feel like you can be simpatico with the two because both teams agree that they hate the Dodgers, right? Both
Yeah, it's like
teams
the Bloods and the Crips thing, the meme with the rag.
yeah, they both agree they can hate the Dodgers, which is why it's then ironical I'm doing a show with Doug. But hey, that's what happens with California. There's going to be a lot of crossover. Now, we're going to take our last break. When we get back, I didn't even give my opinion. It's funny on this Niners game. I think me and you have very different opinions on this Niners team. I actually think the Niners are going to be pretty good this year. I hate to admit it. But that being said, I think we do catch the Niners at a good time early in the season because this team has a lot of question marks. Like you're saying, maybe you'd say, hey, I want to play the Niners late in the year because that means C-Mac is going to be, struggling. But when you look at the injuries the team has right now, right? Like their backup running back is now Brian Robinson because they don't have another body. Their receiving core outside of Ricky Pearsall, it's like Juwan Johnson's hurt and holding out. Like they're kind of a mess, right? So by week 5, I don't think that's all going to be patched up. Give me the Rams. So we both have the Rams at 4-1 going into week 6 with just that Eagles loss being the only loss. We might have another loss coming up after the break because the Rams travel to Baltimore in week 6. We'll talk about that and we'll somehow blaze through the remaining, 12 games on the schedule. We'll do all that after our last break here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. Now, finally, today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they are worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can spend all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Don't let the financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNFL. Back here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show, 2 out of the 3. We're missing our boy Brock. He'll be back for the midweek show as we tease the fans getting into the full mob squad ahead of the season opener, which is exactly a week away. Now, D-Mac and I have a challenge here. It's already hard enough predicting the wins and losses, but we like each other too much. We yap too much. We got 15 minutes to get through the rest of the schedule. So it's going to be a fun little rapid fire the rest of the way. And what a way to start this final segment, because the Rams, who we both have at 4-1, despite having very different opinions on the Niners, which we'll get to later, they go to Baltimore, week 6. I'll start it off. I'll keep it simple. I think the Rams are one of the best teams in football. I think the Ravens might be the best team in football. They're one of. And as much as I think it's going to be a good game, I don't know if our strengths match up with their strengths or weaknesses. Give me the Ravens, unfortunately. I think they're just going to run the ball. And I think it'll be close. I really do think it will be. But I'm going to take, especially coming off probably a challenging game against the Niners, give me the Ravens as the Rams fall to 4-2. You agree or disagree?
Yeah, I think the Rams have a chance to beat the Ravens for sure. I think that a lot of this has to do with if they let a game slip up that they weren't supposed to. Like if somehow the Titans found a way to beat the Rams, if the Texans shocked the Rams in week 1, if there's kind of one of those games, it almost feels like, okay, this is a way to make up for it, right? I kind of believe in that a little bit, but Jackson has always been really good against NFC opponents because they don't see him a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that always helps. And you still have Derrick Henry there. I think it's going to be a close game. I can see something like 31-27, but just for the sake of not being biased, I will pick the Ravens. You know what? I'm going to flip the pick. I think I'll take the Rams in this one. I'll take the Rams beating the Ravens just because I think that they played them so well last year, and I think that this Rams team is better than last year's team. So give me the Rams beating the Ravens in this one.
Hey, I like it. Keep it interesting. If there is an argument outside of the Rams just being a great team, the Ravens schedule, it's tough, right? They go at Buffalo, they get an easy one against the Browns, but then they host the Lions, they're at Kansas City, and then they play the Texans all before they have to play the Rams. So they don't get the breaks outside of Cleveland that we do, where you get to play the Titans, you get to play the Colts. No. They've got 4 elite matchups right away. And so that would be a nice argument. They do have their bye week after that too, so maybe they can afford to take an L and catch their breath. But all right, then that makes it interesting. I've got them at what? This is going to be a lot of math that I don't want to do in the morning. 4-2 for me. You've got them at 5-1 then, right? You only have the Eagles loss. Keep track of your record because I don't think I can keep track of both. Week 7 at Jacksonville. Love Travis Hunter. I don't know if it was right to trade all those picks to get him, but I respect the boldness. But the Rams are better than the Jags. I don't think we need to waste much time here unless you're going to shock the world. I've got the Rams beating the Jags in week 7.
Yeah, let's take that one. I mean, we talked about with Brock in the last episode that, I mean, it's always a lot for these players to go across the pond and the schedule. So that is always an interesting.
Not in Jacksonville. Yeah, I just realized I was saying in Jacksonville. What am I saying? We're in London. There we go. Thank you for reminding me. Yes.
Well, I mean, no, that's fair because I mean, Jacksonville, the Jags are basically the unofficial team of.
That's their second home.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, exactly.
It's kind of that anyway, so it's totally understandable. So I got the Rams winning, but I hate that game. I just want to point out I hate that game.
Yeah.
It feels like a weird game.
Yeah. And then of course because of it, then you have the bye in week 8. You get your bodies used to the West Coast time again. Then you host the Saints again. Not much to be said here. The Saints are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. Give me the Rams in a thumper. I mean, what, like 17-point win, right?
Look, the Locked On NFL channel manager, Ross Jackson, he covers the Saints, and he's just the greatest boss of all bosses. He's incredible. So I got the Saints winning that one 50-0. I got the Saints. I got the Saints absolutely destroyed. No, of course, I got the Rams winning that one. I got the Rams winning that one, and it's going to be the New Orleans Aints team again. So yeah, I got that one. The next one I'm scared about is the following week, going up to San Francisco. I'll give the split. I'll just throw it out there. I know that you've been leading the way with the schedule, but I thought we'll snake it a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
Flip on you. I'll take the 49ers winning at home to try to keep hope alive for their season.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I have a different take on the Niners than you do, and I trust me, I don't want to have this take, but I do think that this team, I don't think the window is shut because them getting lucky with Brock Purdy has kind of extended the window a little bit the way they thought that drafting a Trey Lance would have. I think, are they paying him probably more than I would want if I were a Niner fan? Sure, but the same way there's ifs about Matthew Stafford, there's huge ifs about C-Mac and really just their whole team because they always get hurt. But kind of on the opposite end of the Packers, right? They do have the top end talent, right? When you say a C-Mac, when you say a George Kittle, when you get to mention a Fred Warner, right? They have the top end talent that an elite team needs to have. And so I do think going up there, as much as that stadium stinks, as much as Levi stinks, giving the Niners in that one as well. So then what? Keep track of yours. I don't even remember. I've got the Rams with let's just say how many losses. I've got the Rams now with 3 losses, the Ravens, the Eagles, and the Niners. You've got them with 2. Week 11, hosting the Seahawks, an interesting team, a new face at quarterback, Sam Darnold. You think that's an upgrade or a downgrade going from Geno Smith to Sam Darnold?
I think it's a downgrade. I think Geno Smith's a better throw of the football. I think that Sam Darnold kind of had a nice comeback year. I think he's a respectable quarterback. I really do. But I think Geno, when he's on, is just a better quarterback. I really do. I don't think Darnold's necessarily a bad quarterback, but I don't think that if there's Seahawks fans out there thinking that the Vikings version of him last year is who he's going to be moving forward, I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think sometimes you see this with players. They have like those random years where, like, I mean, and a lot of times happens when they're going to need a new contract, right? And I think Sam Darnold kind of took advantage of a really good system. I mean, you got great receivers. I do like Seattle. Like, I think Jackson Smith and Jigba could emerge as a top 10 guy this year. I really do. I think that you got Kenneth Walker if he stays healthy. Zach Charbonnet, we know, is continuing to get better. I think their defense is good, though. I really do. I think that I actually think the Seahawks are a sneaky team in this division. I really do. I think that they're a team that it took a year to kind of move on from the Pete Carroll era, right? And like now it's kind of this new era in Seattle. I wouldn't be surprised to see them ahead of teams. I think the Cardinals are. I got the Cardinals actually as the second best team in the NFC West, but I think that you can have the Seahawks and the 49ers as behind them. I'm telling you, man. I'm not. It sounds crazy, but
hey,
I
I like it. You know, I like it. You know, I like it. I want.
It's because I have Kyler as my QB in fantasy, right?
that's why. It's funny. I'll be honest. I'm pretty. I'm not very high on the Cardinals this year. I know you don't want to hear that with Kyler on your team, but I'm not high on them. And I see the Seahawks are a difficult one for me because I really do like the coach. I really do like the program that they're building over there. But I really do think Sam Darnold's going to get exposed this year. He had a great offensive line in Minnesota. He needs a great offensive line. And it was us. It was the Rams that exposed how bad Sam Darnold can look when he's under pressure. In that playoff game, he looked awful, right? And so I hope we do it to them again. Also, one thing we should mention, Cooper Kupp will be back at SoFi. That'll be pretty interesting as well. But give me the Rams in that one as well. Now, the week after, you play the Bucs once again at home. I think we talk about the travel and everything. Tampa having to fly across the country to play the Rams, whereas we get back-to-back games at home. Tampa's going to be good, but I'm taking the Rams in this one as well. I just think we're slightly better. A lot of question marks about the health of Chris Godwin. Baker, I think, is at this point established himself as a guy who saved his career and is pretty solid. But on Sunday Night Football, back-to-back games at home, I think the travel is the big thing. Give me the Rams. What about you?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. That one's a tough one. I think they're kind of like just an overall wild card team in general for the NFL. I mean, like you got someone like an Emeka Ibuka and guys like that. You got McMillan and Godwin who are definitely interesting too. So I mean, I don't know. That's kind of a tough one for me too. Like that's one that I actually have as a sneaky possible loss for the Rams in this one.
Sure, absolutely.
But yeah, I think that's where I'm at on that one.
Okay. All right. So you're going, just to make sure, you're going win still, or are you?
I'm going loss.
Oh, you're going loss. Okay. So then that brings you to what? That you'd have 3 losses, and I got 3 also. See, we're getting better at this. Okay. Panthers in week 13 in Carolina. People trying to hype it up. They're not going to be as bad as they were last year, but I'm a big fan of McMillan. I think that was a great draft pick for them, but they're still not there yet. They're not beating the Rams. Give me the Rams. What about you?
For that one, I've got Panthers. It's a win. It's a dub. I think that's they got Ted McMillan. You got Leggett, but we'll see what happens with. I mean, they still could be one of the worst teams in the NFL. I like them on the road in that one. That's a dub.
Yeah. Then we get to week 14 in Arizona. This is my one where, despite what I think of the team, I think the Rams lose this football game. Just sometimes in the NFL, it's a schedule thing, right? And for me, that would be what I have: Seahawks, Bucks, Panthers, 3 wins in a row, with the Lions coming up the week after that. This is the game, right, where it catches up to you. It's a sneaky game, not to mention the travel. We got to go to Carolina, then come back, then to Arizona. I think the Rams lose this game against your boy Kyler Murray, and obviously we're going to be rooting for the Rams, but if they do lose, I'll hope Kyler has 5 touchdowns for you. What you got?
Yeah, I've got a little slump right there for the Rams. I got them losing at Arizona. Like I said, I mean, I think they're going to make a little bit of noise. I really do. Will Johnson, he's a playmaker.
Oh, yeah.
You got Marvin Harrison Jr., who didn't have the best rookie season, but dude looks straight up jacked, and it feels like an offseason. Him and Kyler are kind of building that chemistry. Trey McBride, James Conner. The Rams have absolutely owned the Cardinals since Sean McVay became head coach here. I think that's one where I think the Cardinals win that one. We saw last year in week 2 what they were able to do against this Rams team there. So I got the Cardinals win that one. So that'd be my 4th loss.
Okay. Now we go Sunday, huge game against the Lions. Like I said, I'm still very high on the Lions. We know that these 2 teams will forever be linked. We'll go to you first. Week 15, who you got?
I got the Rams all day. I think that it's a perfect storm for them coming off of 2 losses against a Lions team that it's going to feel like a playoff game. It's going to mean more because I don't think these 2 teams are going to link up in the playoffs again this year. So I do think that Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, Jared Goff at SoFi Stadium, they're not letting Jared Goff come into SoFi Stadium and leave with a victory. So give me the Rams in that one. I think that's the game that really springboards them into the postseason's right around the corner. That's us just not necessarily flipping a switch, because I don't think you can do it in the NFL, but I think that is them kind of hitting their stride, getting right after a couple losses that might not have been the worst losses, but things happen in the NFL, and then you're starting to feel really good about the Rams' chances because of all the wins they stacked early in the season.
Yeah. This is a really tough one for me. I've kind of got a chalky, kind of prediction so far where I've got the Rams kind of winning all the games you'd expect them to win and lose the games where it might be tough, right? I've got them losing to all the big dogs, the Eagles, the Niners, the Ravens, and then that sneaker with the Cardinals. I was going to say this was going to be the big dog that the Rams actually beat in the Lions. But sometimes when you're doing a prediction, you got to factor in a lot of things. And I don't see them winning this game, and then I don't know if I have them winning this game, I can't have them win the next 3, and because then it's like this team is just a world beater. And as much as I want them to be, I still like us to win the last 3 games of the season. So I am still going to have the Rams lose this one. But I clearly, based on all the yapping I'm doing, you can tell I don't really love that pick. But I'm gonna take the Lions in this one, and then we get to the Seahawks in Seattle. I still like the Rams to win this game. I'm kind of on Seattle. I just think we match up so well against Sam Darnold, against an offensive line that's not great. And while their defense is good, I think we're going to shut them down. I really think we're going to do it. These are the types of games that remind the other people that the Rams are a well-rounded team. They're not just an offensive team with all the weapons. This defense is going to get after Sam Darnold in both matchups. Give me the Rams in Week 16. What about you?
I got the Rams losing this one. Thursday Night Football after a big Lions game. The Seahawks have always played the Rams tough up in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
It is never easy to go up there in Seattle. Who knows what they're fighting for at that part of the season. But I think that the Lions game is going to be a hard-fought win, so it's not going to be easy to rebound from that. I got the Seattle Seahawks winning that one.
There you go. I mean, again, it really does depend on what you have happening in Week 15, because for me, they're coming off 2 losses, they being the Rams. And I don't think they lose 3 in a row, right? Versus you got them coming off the win against the Lions. Week 17, Falcons, another sneaky one where this is kind of, it feels like the Falcons every year, especially the people that love playing fantasy football, they want to say that the Falcons are going to be great. You got Bijan, you got Drake London, you got even a guy who's been not good, but Kyle Pitts, all the talk about him, and now Michael Penix, you throw him in there for a full season. I am, unfortunately, pretty high on Michael Penix and what they got going over there. It's a sneaky one, but give me the Rams. I'm going to say the Rams win that one to pick up 2 in a row on the road going into Week 18. Another question is if this game even matters, because if you're on as low on the Niners as you are, there's a chance that maybe the Rams already have things locked up in the NFC West by Week 17, and maybe they are just, working on seeding a little bit. But I'm going to think the game matters because I'm pretty high on the Niners this season with how easy their schedule is. Give me the Rams against the Falcons. What you got?
Yeah, I got the Rams big in that one for sure.
Big,
I think
wow.
it's interesting just because, you got 4 of your last 6 games on the road. We'll see how the division shakes out. You keep saying the 49ers against be the Cardinals, but we'll see what happens. But give me a dub for the Rams in that one.
You said big. I'm curious why. You're not high on the Falcons here in 2025. You think it's another year?
I would say I just think that the Rams have this really innate ability to kind of have a sense when extra meaningful football is on the horizon. And I like the Falcons. I like them going up against someone that they know very well in a head coach that knows them in Raheem Morris, and they kind of understand how to go up against a Raheem Morris scheme. So I look for the Rams offense in a controlled environment to perform very well. So I like the Rams. It's big is kind of relative, I guess, in NFL terms, right?
True.
To me, a 10-point win feels big in the NFL, right? So
sure, yeah.
I just look for a Rams team that, like, if Puka's healthy, Devontae Adams, the offense, the defense, I think at that point we've seen continue to improve throughout the season. I just think it's going to be a good opportunity after some tough opponents to go in there against a Falcons team that, I'm not particularly high on.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I still have us winning too, right? And the Falcons are one of those wild card teams where there's a scenario, there really is, where the Falcons win their division and are playing meaningful football in the playoffs and stuff. And there's a scenario where they fall off a cliff like they seem to have done in recent years. Week 18 against the Cardinals. The date, the time, all of that, of course, not decided yet, but you're at home against a Cardinals team that I'm a lot lower on than you are. So you already know where I'm going with this one. If this game matters, give me the Rams. Mr. Cardinals boy here, D-Mac, what do you got? What do you got? You're calling another Cardinals win? I can't imagine you have them winning twice.
Little brother. Cardinals is definitely a little brother, right? But I think they've taken care of business. I think they win that one. Think that you get a 12-win season. By the way, going back to the Falcons one, the Rams have that pick, the Falcons' first-round pick. So they're going to want to beat them extra bad because every Falcons loss is a win for the Rams this season. But no, I got them winning against the Cardinals at home, and who knows what that looks like if Arizona's having the type of year I think they could possibly have. That could be extremely relevant football. But in a perfect world, it's what we saw last year, and Jimmy Garoppolo is the quarterback, and Tutu Atwell's getting a couple touchdowns. So we'll see. I mean, I think it depends on what they have to play for. I think last year you didn't play for, and you end up in the wild card round. You won a game, but you lost to the Eagles. So I think that they're trying to put themselves in the best position to make a deep run in the playoffs. I think that could mean winning 12 games, which they might have an opportunity to do that game. But I got to win against the Cards to end the season.
All right, so we both got them at 12-5. We got there in different ways, but we both have them at 12-5. We both, I mean, we might be, we might be the 100 acquisitions or the not 100 acquisitions might be, coming at us when you have us winning 12 games. But I do think the way the schedule looks, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I have us losing every single one of those big games, right, against the big teams that you would be scared of, and yet you still get to 12 wins. You have them winning a couple of those games and then losing a couple, sneaky games, but still 12 wins feels like a very realistic possibility. And it's why, just how we opened the show, the Rams are right in the middle of that elite NFC tier, and I still have them above the Packers. You still have them above the Packers as long as everybody is healthy. It was a fun show, man. It was fun to break down every game. Before we end this one, you got any final words before we go into officially week 1 Houston Texans prep?
Let's get it on, man. Let's hope that if they go 12-5, we'll replay this episode like it's a classic. If they don't, we'll delete it and edit all these picks out.
There you go. See, we're not musicians, right? We don't post an album and it has to stay there forever and people are going to critique it. If we don't like it, we can always just go on YouTube and just hit the old delete button there. But,
no, we never do that. We're totally kidding. Okay. We stand on business here, good, bad, or ugly. I know there's a lot of shows that do that. It's never happened once on this show. I want to point that out.
I love it. Ending the show with some strays at some sneak disses. I love it. But this is the Keep It 100 Mob Squad, Ram Squad show. We'll be back in the middle of the week. We'll get our full Houston Texans preview then, and then we'll be live after the Texans game on Sunday as well. For D-Mac, I'm Gavin Carlson. Whose house? Locked on Rams house, baby. Take care.